The disclaimer. If you are easily offended by mild adult language, such as the S word, the B word, you will be offended. You've been warned. If you're not easily offended by things of this nature, enjoy the story. All time is sham time, Garcia said reverently. When in doubt, skate the hell out, Barton said. The third commandment, Specialist Banks. One of the men Stone hadn't yet met stepped forward. If you look right, you are right. Barton nodded, sagely. Appearance is everything. As long as we look productive, it doesn't matter what we're really doing. The NCOs stay out of our ass. Roger that, Stone said. This was a skill he had already learned and practiced on Earth. There was always some busybody sergeant looking to make sure the E4 and below were doing something useful, and being former members of the same Mafia, they knew all the tricks used to keep up appearances. Only the assholes went out of their way to call the lower enlisteds out on their tricks. The final commandment you will keep, Barton continued, is to always play the shaggy defense. If there is evidence that something happened, but not enough to pin it specifically on anyone, it wasn't anyone. Then refer to commandment number 1. See nothing, say nothing, Stone said faithfully. And drink to forget, Banks added, sipping some hooch from a bottle he'd brought with him. If you do not follow these commandments faithfully, you will be labeled a Blue Falcon like Stan's, considered unworthy, and not to be trusted. You don't want to be a Stan's. Is this clear? Roger that, Stone yelled. I hereby pledge my full faith and abilities to doing as little as possible while looking squared away, at least when they're watching. Hey, Barton, don't forget the unofficial commandments, Garcia said. What are those? Stone asked. Give all privates hell, but not as much as NCOs, Barton said. Except for the cool ones like Porter, Banks added. Understood, Stone said with a nod. Barton and the others headed to the exit, shutting off the flashlights one by one as they went. Stone heard the hatch to the maintenance bay close behind them as they left, leaving him alone in the complete blackness of the room. This must be part of the initiation, he thought. They'll be back in a minute and cut me loose. The minute turned into 5. And 5 turned into 20. After 30, Stone came to the conclusion that they weren't coming back, and it was indeed part of the initiation, just not how he thought it was. Oh well, he thought, as he stood and felt his way around the sides of the room to the workbenches. At least they left me in a bay full of tools. The next morning, Charlie Battery had their first formation of the day in PT gear. The first sergeant, a giant of a man named Hernandez, called them to attention and introduced Captain Kendall, who stepped to the front of the group and returned the first sergeant's salute. Hernandez moved to the rear as the captain spoke. The first thing Stone noticed about Captain Kendall was his nose. It was a classic beak, large and protruding several inches off of his face before hooking sharply down. It was impossible not to stare. It was almost hypnotic. Good morning, Charlie Battery, Captain Kendall said. We'll be doing a short fun run along the spine of the Newcastle today. 1 lap up and back is 2 miles, so this ought to be easy. Are you ready? Just follow your nose, sir, someone called out from the back of one of the Hawker platoons. The captain's expression darkened, his brows knitting together in severity. Battery, attention! Right face, forward, march! After the initial command and double time was given, and Sergeant Porter was brought out of the formation to call cadence, Stone wondered if there would be repercussions for the remark from the Hawker platoon. 4 laps and 8 miles along Newcastle's spine later, he didn't wonder anymore. For shit's sake, Donner, Barton said to the hawker who had made the remark as they all stood in line for chow. Never piss off a marathon runner at the start of a fun run. Yeah, man, what the hell were you thinking? Garcia demanded. Donner, a Spec 4 missile loader operator, appeared unconcerned with the scorn he'd earned from the rest of Charlie Hawk. I was thinking it would be funny as hell, and if you maintenance pukes were in better shape, you would see that it was. Dude, even Sergeant Porter had to take a breather in the middle of all that, and Top almost puked at the end. Yeah, that was bullshit, Banks said. Whatever, go maintain something, Donner said, and stepped up to get his tray, filled with faux eggs and bacon that made up this morning's chow. Is this something we're going to have to handle? Stone asked Barton. Donner turned at that. Oh, you think you can do something about it, Boot? The challenge was in the tone, if nothing else. This had the potential to get ugly fast, and it was too soon at the new unit to start something like this. Last night's induction notwithstanding, he was too new to have real allies. Nah, Barton said, with a slight shake of his head. He doesn't have to. Your own platoon will take care of it. You better look over your shoulder for a while. Accidents happen. Donner looked past Barton to see several members from his own platoon glaring at him from further back in line. All of them wore varied expressions of pain, underscored by fury. Donner paled and turned quickly to get his tray and take a seat. Like, how serious of an accident? Stone asked once he was gone. He knew the lower enlisted practiced unofficial disciplinary measures to soldiers that they deemed problem children, and had even participated in a few soap parties in his day, but the punitive actions could take many different forms. Nothing a few days in the sick bay won't fix, Barton said. He'll probably slip in the shower. The showers on board are sonic. There's no water to slip in, Stone observed. Exactly. It was Stone's turn to receive his chow, so he stepped up to the serving station. I'd like eggs Benedict and champagne with a side of truffles and cream, thanks, he said to the line cook acting as server at the first station. She was bent over the steaming food containers, adjusting the temperature. Sorry, she said without looking up. Best I can do is shit on a shingle. I thought that was lunch, Stone said. The female cook straightened, and Stone's breath caught in his throat. He'd seen many females in the military, of course, but no one had really interested him before. Not that they weren't equal parts feminine and capable, it was just nobody had really gotten his attention. This soldier had most of her mouse brown hair tucked into her serving cap with a few loose strands peeking out, and the basic cheekbone and aquiline nose facial grouping that most of humanity had considered a beauty standard for thousands of years. But the bump in the middle of her nose, which some would say diminished the effect, enhanced it. And there was no getting around the startling, pale blue eyes. Stone didn't even feel the food as it plopped down onto his tray. He was too busy staring. Ah, shit. She snared another one, Barton said, nudging Stone along in the line, as soldiers yelled from behind them to move the hell on. Move along, troop, she said, a smile playing at the corners of her mouth. Barton gave him a shove to finally get him going through the rest of the line. You can always come back for seconds. Who is she? Stone asked after they were seated. Out of your league, Garcia said, around a mouthful of eggs. Private E2 Joy Fahrenkrug, and she is technically attached to Charlie Hawk as one of our cooks when we deploy. But Garcia's right. She's definitely out of your league. Stone took offense at his new pals deciding who was a suitable object for his affections. But breakfast after an 8-mile run wasn't the place to argue the point. Pick your battles was a personal motto of his.